Would you like to sit here a little bit longer while I freshen the open? I saw you roll your eyes when the open was the same one as Monday and the same one as Wednesday. Was 15 minutes waiting for me to get everything electronic squared away not enough for you this morning?
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand because it's not like we do a show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And
well, I'm up at 5:20 to do the show, and I thought, in order to preclude any issues during the show, maybe I should do a virus scan this morning.
No.
It never finished. It went I actually started it last night. It went all night. I got up this morning. I started it again, and it's still cranking. So at 6:30, I'm like, well, I better stop it and reboot because Spiels will be stomping in here at 6:45. Let's go. Yes, we are finally live this morning on a Friday edition of the Spielman.
Why are you blaming your ineptitude on me?
Just
what? I mean, what?
Because I used to be a Democrat, and I still haven't forgotten all of it. It was a setup. You set me up.
I don't ask for a lot. I really don't. I mean, I actually pay to do this podcast.
You brought gifts today. You came bearing gifts today.
Well, because of the extortion that was placed upon me.
That was extortion.
With Sherry Hooley, low-key extortion.
Low-key extortion. We still haven't gotten your coffee, by the way.
No, of course not.
I'll run and get that today.
Let's see. The streaming isn't working.
Now it is. Hello, everybody.
I haven't gotten coffee yet.
No.
No, so I don't.
You did get your free Diet Coke.
That's and the open hasn't been changed.
The open hasn't been changed. No, in 3 days. No, same open.
If only we had 3 girls.
Yeah,
again,
3 tech savvy girls.
I would be happy to pay more money to do this show.
They've been engaged in technology of a different sort lately. My daughter Katie is up for the Max Preps Ohio High School Athlete of the Week. So. Her sisters have been thumbing incessantly, voting on their phones, hoping that they'll win, which I find tender that they're helping and hoping that their sister wins.
Well, I think that's a good sign.
I'm
not jealous of her success.
I hazard to see my data bill when all their voting
comes due. Well, at least it's not DirecTV.
Maybe it's not DirecTV. That's
Maybe you can send another strongly worded email to DirecTV.
Welcome, everyone, to a Friday edition, September 4th edition of the We Tackle Life podcast. I'm Bruce Hooley. He's Chris Spielman, and we welcome you to send us your tweets and texts and Facebook messages. Our friend Joe Dumas, former Buckeye, says that I missed the early one there. There you go. So Joe says he's given 2 rides to JFK already. Early bird gets the
Joe started a car service and he's done a great job in New York, and he gets it going and worked very hard and built a successful business. Very proud of Joe and all he's overcome. And Joe, I know would not feel bad if I talked about this, but Joe, I think, has been sober now for over, let me get it here, because I think one thing we always talk about is accountability. And for the last 2,574 days,
wow,
Joe has texted me days he's had without a drink. So he's been
2,500 almost 2,600.
Look, I have these texts on my phone every time.
So cool.
Every single day.
That is so cool.
And he actually texted me that he calculated how much money he has saved over that time period. You are not going to believe the number.
Not drinking?
Not drinking. How much money he saved.
Okay, so 350, let's say, math in my head, 350 days. You said it's 2,600 days?
Yeah.
So roughly. So basically 8 years. 7.5, 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say $25,000.
$385,650 not spent on alcohol.
See, I'm a non-drinking man. I have no idea what alcohol costs, so that's amazing. Great for you, Joe.
Yeah, great. And the last 7.5 years, and I've gotten a text.
Here it is
every single day.
Right here. He totals it up for us. $385,900.
Yeah. So.
Great for you,
Anyway.
Joe.
Good. And speaking of Twitter,
Yes,
I've gotten a message on Twitter.
I saw it.
For some people are coming to me.
Yeah, well, good luck.
No, listen to me now.
I'm listening.
Some people have come to me to ask for your forgiveness and to unblock them so they can engage with the wonderful Bruce Hooley.
Not really. They haven't come to you asking for forgiveness. They're just asking for you to intervene.
But this person wants proof of why.
Well, I can't supply that proof.
You can't.
I can't give you. Here we go. It's Sean Hawkins. Sean,
I'm doing my part.
Sean tweets at Chris Spielman. I humbly ask. Now listen to this. Listen if there's an apology to me in here anywhere.
Right.
Where did it go?
Well, because he feels he basically wants to say he doesn't tweet vitriol at anybody, and he wants to say, okay, look, if I made a mistake, fine, but he wants to engage with you, and I think you should open your heart. I'm being dead serious. I think you should open. This is a new Bruce.
Listen for an apology in this. At Chris Spielman.
Doesn't need an apology.
I humbly ask if you can get Bruce to unblock me. I don't recall saying anything to him. 99.9% of the time, I don't respond vitriolic to anyone. I loved listening to both of you over the years. If I did, I would certainly apologize.
You're looking way too much into that.
Also, check this out. He sent a Mike DeWine tweet. So nowhere in there, first of all, he does leave room that he may have responded vitriolically in the 0.1% that he left.
And
Typically, when I block you, it's because you've used profanity toward me or my family.
If he's used profanity and he wants to be unblocked, I think it's your perfect opportunity to exercise some grace. This is a great test case. It's to exercise some grace and let him engage with you.
So what I was going to do, I called up his timeline. To see, all right, is this the kind of guy that I want to give another chance to? Sean Hawkins.
And he blocked you?
No, I blocked him. Says, are you sure you want to view these tweets? Viewing tweets won't unblock Hawk's Nest 18.
I'd say unblock him, so I hope you unblock him.
I think I can view his tweets without unblocking him.
It's fine. I viewed his tweets, and I didn't see anything that you would find.
So far, he's doing very well. His first tweet is doing very well.
Yeah, that's why I said. Yeah, I viewed his tweets for you.
Yeah, there's second. His NBA tweet is winner.
So he's agreeing with
me. He's definitely after my heart. He's got a Tim Tebow tweet on there. Atta boy. And a Clay Travis tweet. Look at this. This guy might be my alter ego. Maybe I blocked him because he's funnier than I am on Twitter. Yeah, I'll give that strong consideration.
All right.
I think that'll probably happen.
All right. I just wanted to get all this stuff off. We're off to a rough start, and I just thought that
we are
showing some grace today would be good.
Yeah, it would.
For you.
I certainly lap up all the grace I can get, so I should divvy some of the rest of it.
In fact, I bring more than my share.
Man, you brought me enough. You brought me enough doggy CBD from our friends at CBD Health Collections and Spielman CBD to hopefully mitigate something. You know, I told you my dog has the IBS, which those of you who don't know what that is, it's
bad.
It's bad. It's irritable something syndrome.
Yeah, irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah. Well, my dog last night didn't have irritable bowel syndrome. She had like furious bowel syndrome.
Angry at her.
Oh.
You try like different food.
The mess I have to clean up in my garage when you leave today. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm going to block her on Twitter. She keeps doing that to me. Well, so I'm really thankful for the CBD from Rick and Ashley.
Yeah. And
tell me about the grand opening of the store in Granville.
It's actually, you can. It's a retail store, so you can go buy the product if you don't want to buy it online, and you can drive out to Granville, which I enjoy. Granville's a cool place.
Oh, what a beautiful town! What a beautiful town.
It's really, really wonderful. But and we had a grand opening of a store, and they have the products, either CBD Health Collection product, or certainly they have the Spielman brand. You can get sunblock, pills, roll-on,
sunblock,
patches, tinctures. They're called. That's the droplets, which I'm a big fan of the drops and the roll-on. Also use the patches. That's for my needs. If you're going on vacation or if you're golfing, the sunblock is excellent. But it was cool. We had a lot of people there last night, a ribbon cutting ceremony. I think the mayor of Granville stopped by last night. And Rick and Ashley were there, and John. It's just wonderful people, and we have a good product. I'm not going to sit here and say that without being sincere. We have a very good product. It's independently verified, and in fact, Carrie was having some arthritis in her hands the other day, Bruce. She took the roll-on, rubbed it on her hands, and we got some serious pain relief. So.
I've experienced that myself with my thumb issues, my neck issues. Yeah, the thing about, and I've talked to Rick and Ashley a few times, you can find 100 places between here and Granville that will sell CBD. You can't find any places that grow their own from their own seeds that they engineer to medical grade specs, and then they provide all the medical breakdown of each product with the little crazy barcode thing where you can put your phone next to it and see what the breakdown is. And they have some new products. Rick was telling me about. They've got like and I'm trying this one. Did you bring me the sleeping thing that helps me sleep?
No, I did not.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I'll do that.
Another fitful weekend of sleep for me. That's okay.
But I met a couple doctors there last night, and some doctors are interesting that. And again, look, I'm not making these claims because I don't have the data, but I met a cancer survivor there who, during her treatments, as far as pain relief, that chemo may cause or radiation may cause, she's a 2-time ovarian cancer survivor. And she uses the product, and she was there to support it last night. So I'm not saying it's healing anybody, but I'm talking about the pain relief that you get. And if you're like me, and I'm not, if you're tired of taking over-the-counter stuff, which I am, I'm tired of taking over-the-counter medication or pain relief, you can get it, to me, you get the relief that you're looking for, the same or even a little tad better for me. And so check it out, SpielmanCBD.com.
There we go.
There you go.
Speaking of doctors.
Yeah.
When last heard from, Dr. Wayne Sebastianelli of Penn State was at the forefront of the recovery of an amazing story, Adam Taliaferro, a Penn State, highly touted Penn State defensive back. Okay. Who very unfortunately was injured in a catastrophic way in Ohio Stadium. I want to say like late 90s, taken off the field. The fear was that he was going to be paralyzed. And then a very inspiring scene the following fall. He led Penn State onto the field.
That might have been one of the coolest moments in Ohio Stadium, to be honest with you.
They played Miami in the season opener, night game, and Adam Taliaferro led the Nittany Lions back onto the field, walking. Sebastianelli was the doctor who was the team physician and all that. So his name is well known in the Big Ten. And yesterday there were a day-long attention paid to.
I was working all day yesterday, so I didn't pay attention.
This was the dominant thing on social media yesterday, that Dr. Sebastianelli had attended a Monday night meeting of some people who were asking him about, it was either administrators, doctors, maybe a mix of the two, discussing high school football in Pennsylvania in the COVID era and what are the dangers. And he apparently, off the top of his head, said that one of his colleagues told him that the Big Ten had found myocarditis, the inflamed heart muscle thing, in 30 to 35% of positive COVID tests. Okay, so because he's esteemed in his profession, Dr. Sebastianelli, this was given great weight, 30 to 35%, 1 in every 3. Holy smokes, you can't play football if 1 out of 3 kids. So this was Monday night. It didn't get reported in the Center Daily Times, the paper of record in that area, until Thursday. So when
I have a theory behind that.
Yeah.
Why?
So when it hit the papers, people freaked out. What's your theory?
2 things.
Nobody reads the newspaper. Could be one.
Well, the anti-ballers all jumped on that too.
Oh my goodness! The blue check sports writer crowd against football had a field day with it.
They did, and unfortunately, they got humbled in a hurry. First of all, it came out Monday night. didn't report it till Thursday. Couple things. Somebody at the paper didn't want it out till Thursday because they knew by rumor and what everybody's hearing and what's been leaked that the Big Ten is going to vote today on whether to proceed forward. So by releasing it and holding it until Thursday, maybe they were trying. Ooh. That's right up your alley. I'm surprised you did not think of this.
Conspiracy theory. I'm really ashamed I didn't think of it.
No, I mean, you can't. I don't know anymore because there's so much lack of trust.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you have it? And the other thing that's so disturbing about this, when it was reported, nobody seemed to verify the report, because if you look further in, and he clarified his statements, that 0%, zero, not 35, 0% of all Penn State athletes had no issues with myocarditis. Zero
cases. So ESPN did a good job, an exhaustive survey of the 65 Power 5 programs, and said, hey, you know, this Dr. Sebastianelli says they got 30 to 35%. What do you have? How many myocarditis cases do you have at your school? And they found that at 65 Power 5 programs, they had one case. So Penn State had to put out a statement later in the day. I think Dr. Sebastianelli was probably embarrassed. He recalled the numbers incorrectly from his colleague. He was speaking off the top of his head. And so he said, you know, to clarify, basically I was wrong.
Right.
So
which has been par for the course for this whole COVID-19, because you have dueling theories and dueling opinions on it. And it all comes down to this. From day one, and actually I think you and I have been a part of this from day one. Day one, we said, is there risk? Yes. Is it with your situation, do you want to take the risk? That is your freedom of choice to take the risk. I remember us having this conversation back in early April.
Yeah.
But when you don't have any concrete information, and I get there's people learning and all this, but the willingness and the anxiousness and the excitement to jump on this story is really, to me, I thought as a journalist that you'd have to independently verify.
Well, I would have certainly called Penn State and said, you know, I'm just double checking this. Or at the very least, it's lazy, but you still cover yourself. You say the Center Daily Times is reporting that. You know, Dr. Sebastian.
No, that is lazy. That is lazy.
But at least you're saying, I'm not reporting this. But everybody else who ran with it, like, see, Sebastianelli said, even though they weren't at a meeting. Yeah, they were so excited to have something to use as a wedge against Big Ten football. Now, you and I had a conversation on Wednesday night.
We did?
Yeah, and you said to me, hey, there's reports all over the internet that the Big Ten's going to vote on Friday, and that this school and that school and this school, we're going to opt out, and we're going to have football by October the 10th.
Yes.
And I've seen, did Dan Patrick come up with that, or I've seen that
it's all over.
Rumored? Okay, so tell the people.
If you stop unblocking people, you'd find this out.
Yes, well, maybe so. I'm going to plug in our video over there.
I can't. No. All right, go ahead.
I'll do that. You tell the people.
We're not connecting today because
we are connecting. No, this is great chemistry. This is who you and I are. This is how our conversations go.
I'm really disappointed.
This is a window into our relationship. So, what do you expect to happen today? Because the Big Ten has not said, yeah, we're voting.
I'll be lazy. What's being reported is
there you go.
9:30 today, Bruce. If you would actually check your Twitter account, at 9:30 today, there's going to be a vote, supposedly, by the Big Ten. They're also, from what I understand, may have the option for schools to opt out. See Illinois, see Northwestern, see Rutgers, see Maryland, and there's a 50% chance that Minnesota, I think, although I do think Minnesota will play. They want to start by October 10th because they know if they start at October 10th, what that legitimately does is give them a shot now at the college football playoff. And so if Minnesota opts out, then you'll have 8 games. I don't know if they can pick up a non-conference game to make it 9 games.
That'd be nice.
I don't know that. But if Minnesota's in, they'll have a 9-game season, which, okay, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think we are going to get a vote today. I'll say 80% sure that we're going to get a vote today.
Okay. They wouldn't vote unless they were positive they had the votes to change it.
That,
in my opinion.
And quite frankly, I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just kind of like Congress when they pass bills. They don't bring them up if they're not going to pass them.
Right.
And so I think President Trump kind of put them a little bit in a corner where they have to make a decision because of the Abbott rapid testing that's going to be provided, which gives them, in fact, at Fox, we're getting rapid tests. I'm getting tested every Saturday night at the hotel.
How are they testing you? Are they doing the swab or are you doing saliva?
Swab. But they're not doing the brain thing. They're doing it just on the inside of your nose.
Okay, so it's not like really super unpleasant.
It's the friend. They call it the friendly test. We actually are also having 2 COVID nurses travel with us. They're part of our broadcast team.
Wow, really?
Now on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when I leave, I have this website that I have to go on to, and I have to do a self-examination, enter my information. Then I either get a green card or to go, or a red card to be cautious, and then I have to talk to human resources and all that stuff.
Wow.
But let's see what else was interesting about that. I commend Fox for doing everything they have to do to get the job done. The guy that led the meeting, there were 500 people in this meeting yesterday. So you're talking about everybody involved with Fox plus all the independent contractors. There were 500 people in this meeting, and logistically what Fox was able to do, and I'm not just saying this from my employer, I mean NBC is doing this, CBS, ESPN, all these people are doing this to make things happen. They're spending a lot of money to get it done. And to start the meeting, and I really sincerely believe this, that their number one concern is the safety and health of all their employees, which it should be. But there were some people on there, and there was a question and answer thing that you can hit and ask questions. There's some people on there that were complaining about this, and it's very simple. Complaining about everything you have to do. It's very simple. If you don't want the job, then you're not forced to take the job.
There'll be plenty of other people who would love to take it.
It goes back to what I'm saying. At least give me the freedom to choose whether I want to take the risk of working or not.
Absolutely.
And so, but Fox to me is going above and beyond, because they're sending me a little what's the bag you wear around your waist?
A fanny pack.
They're sending fanny packs to everybody with a digital thermometer, hand sanitizer, a bunch of masks, all these things. So making it they're providing COVID nurses.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
But I think is it a pain in the rear end? Yes. Nobody wants to do this. Do you think they want to spend all their money on this?
Of course not.
So I was getting a little bit angry at this person because you're going to take my DNA and send it off to some lab. That's really conspiracy theory. But it's simple. If you don't want to play by the rules of the business, then don't play.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're allowed not to work.
Yeah. Or find another job.
I don't love sitting outside at a soccer game with a mask on, but I love that I get to watch my daughter play soccer. If it's a sacrifice I have to make to have her play soccer, I'm willing to make it. Does it make any sense to me that you can have 50% capacity indoors at a restaurant, no masks? And then when you're outdoors, you can only have 20% capacity with masks? No, that makes zero sense to me. Makes zero sense to anyone with a working brain. But that's what they've said we have to do, and that's what I'm willing to do.
And if I want to go out to eat, I don't make the rules of the restaurant.
Yeah.
I abide by the rules of the restaurant. Do I think it's absolutely? There's not one person that thinks this is a good idea. When you stand up and you walk 20 feet to the bathroom, you have to have your mask on. Then when you walk 20 feet back and you actually change your elevation by sitting down, you can take your mask off. Yeah. Does anybody think that makes any difference?
I don't think any rational person.
I don't think any rational person does. Yeah. But you know what? They asked me to do it. I'm going to do it.
Absolutely right. All right. So if we get football by October the 10th, and Jim Harbaugh told his team yesterday in practice to prepare for playing in October. So we haven't heard from Ryan Day. We haven't heard from Gene Smith. But Harbaugh, why would he tell them to get ready to play in October unless he knew where the vote was going to happen and where it was going to go and what they might do? And you're right. The Big Ten would be stupid to let an opportunity to get into the playoff and to maximize TV revenue this fall and all that kind of stuff, if it's safe to play and the rapid testing. And they can hide behind the availability of rapid testing as the reason why. I'm not sure they'll give credit to President Trump for making rapid tests available, because I think they don't want to be seen as having impact on the election one way or the other. They may have a dog in the fight. They don't want to own that. Yeah. And I understand why they wouldn't want to own it.
No, they don't want to own it. But everybody, I think if everybody thinks logically and being intellectually honest with yourself and do some critical thinking, President or Vice President Biden, and he's doing what he has to do to win an election.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he played it smart. Came out with a commercial showing empty Big Ten stadiums.
Yep.
This is Trump's fault. Trump counterpunches. He gets on the horn with Kevin Warren. By the way, we're going to have rapid testing, and a week before, or less than a week, the Big Ten is voting to play after the Trump phone call. You can look at it any way you want. You're free to critically think how you want. I don't blame Biden whatsoever.
Nope.
For
that's politics.
Dropping that ad out there. Yeah, it's a blood sport, as they say, obviously in politics. So then the problem is, I don't think he thought Trump was going to counterpunch, and Trump's counterpunches were the best of them. So
yeah, and I don't know that he thought the Big Ten would change its viewpoint, but whether they will or not should become clear by noon today. And if they make an announcement they're having football in October, President Trump will no doubt try to leverage that, because just the swing states of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, if one of those candidates wins, one of them will, whichever one of them wins 3 of those states wins the election.
Yeah.
Those are the swing states.
Here's the thing. It's interesting that people are on Twitter. Now, when I was following all this was all happening on Wednesday. Well, President Trump is just doing this because of the election. Yeah.
Yeah, of course he is. Yes. And your point is?
Just like Vice President Biden was doing it for the election. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. That's the way it works. And now we have the Pac-12 that may be interested in starting back up.
Yeah.
Because they can't. Apparently, they can't make a decision without the Big Ten.
No, they can't.
That's a mistake that the Big Ten made. They think the Big Ten had the same mindset of the Pac-12, or the Big Ten thought the other conferences had the same mindset of the Pac-12, and basically the other conference said, "Why would we follow you?
Well, we're not following you.
You have nothing to do with us."
Yeah. We have great news. Months ago, our friend Joe in Nashville let us know that he was going to have prostate cancer surgery. He emails SpielmanHooleyPodcast@gmail.com, says, "Thank you guys for your prayers earlier this year. I'm fully recovered from any side effects from my prostate cancer surgery and now am cancer free. God is great." That's great, Joe. And he also wants to thank you, Mr. Spielman.
Why?
He says, "I want to thank Chris for keeping me from making a tactical error. I love my Hemisphere coffee. And almost every time I start sipping it in the morning, I comment to my wife about how much I enjoy it. Now, my wife is a tea drinker. I don't understand that, but I love her just the same. Recently, she mentioned that because I've been raving about my Hemisphere coffee, she may need to try a cup sometime. Since learning about Chris's problem with coffee thievery in his house, I no longer rave about Hemisphere coffee. I just sip it quietly and enjoy it. Here's hoping my wife forgets any thoughts about switching from tea to coffee."
I got a suggestion.
He says, by the way, Sumatra Bright Java is his current favorite.
Wow, I don't think I've tried that. I only have one that I strongly dislike. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let the folks know at Hemisphere the one that I dislike. So when you hold up your end of the extortion deal, that
when I deliver, you've been kind. You submitted your hostage to me. Now I have to pay off with the coffee. Yes.
It's this simple. 1 box of Hunter's Blend only.
1 box of Hunter's Blend only for you.
Right. Then for me, the next box can be a variety except this one that I do not.
Well, you can say what kind it is.
Java Blue, I think.
Java Blues.
Java. Yeah, it's just not my thing.
Okay. Well, is it your wife's thing or Macy's thing?
No. So because I purposely started, because I make her coffee every morning. That's just the kind of guy that I
Look,
am.
give.
Thank you. Very good, sir. So I started purposely making her. This is my counterattack. So I know that she didn't like it, so I make that for her every morning just to try to get her off. See, Hemisphere, they have us all fooled. We think Hemisphere is such a great company that wants to plant churches and make great coffee, but they really want to divide marriages.
That's their ultimate goal, I'm sure. Yes. No, it isn't, but it is to get you the best coffee they can from around the world. So if you would like to try Hemisphere Coffee Roasters coffee, go to their website, hemispherecoffeeroasters.com, and order using the promo code We Tackle Life in all caps. You'll get 15% off, and trust me, they got about, I don't know how many different flavors they have. Must be 75 or more.
Yeah, there's
there's bound to be one that might not be Mr. Spielman's favorite, but you love the Hunter's Blend.
Yeah.
You love
I like the Breakfast Blend, Nicaraguan. I like it. I like them all except the Java Blue.
Okay.
Which I'm actually I keep feeding Carrie, but she then
somehow she waits till you go out of the room.
She's on to my nefarious ways, Bruce.
Oh, there you go. Good. It didn't take her long, put it that way. So thank you to Paul and Grace and Andy at Hemisphere Coffee Roasters, and thank you to all of you, like Joe in Nashville, who have become avid Hemisphere fans. We appreciate that very much. All right, the Browns made a trade yesterday, Mr. Spielman. They got Ronnie Harrison, a safety from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are selling out to the bare walls. They used a 5th-round pick to get him. He is presumably a good risk because he's been playing, and he's 23. He's signed through next year, and didn't give up a ton for him. He'll take the spot of Grant Delpit, who's out for the season, with something I hope I never do, a ruptured Achilles tendon. That's one of those injuries that I just think, ay.
Yeah, that used to be a really difficult injury to come back from. I do believe, I was actually reading on some injury stuff, that I do believe that like ACLs, like an ACL is looked upon as a long sprained ankle now.
Where used to be career
threatening or ending, as you said.
Yeah.
And I think Achilles tendons used to be a big issue, but guys seem to have success coming back from it. Obviously, advances in medicine help these guys make a full recovery and come back just as strong as ever. So hopefully, especially a young guy like Grant, which is a good football player. It's too bad because I really liked him at LSU, and I hope he's back and healthy next year.
Well, he had a great, next to last year. I don't know if it was a sophomore year or junior year. Then last year, he did not have a great year, but he had injuries. The Browns felt like they got him at a steal in the 2nd round, just like they felt the same about Greedy Williams. So we don't know. We'll find out. But safety is an important position for them. Apparently, in their new defensive coordinator scheme, he floats his safeties. You got to be able to play pass. You got to be able to come up and play in the box too. So,
he's that type of player.
Now, help me out with the Cincinnati Bengals secondary woes. As we've talked about, Trey Wayne's one of the corners they signed from the Minnesota Vikings, out for a significant period of time, maybe for the year with a torn pec. They were counting on him to play opposite William Jackson. That won't happen now. So they may have to play Mackenzie Alexander, another corner they got from the Vikings, who they were hoping to play in the slot.
Right.
Mackenzie Alexander on the outside, is that a problem for the Bengals, in your opinion?
No, I mean, it's not ideal. I think what they're hoping for, because the slot corner position is such a marquee position now in defenses, and the average personnel grouping with 5 defensive backs on the field, excuse me, in the NFL is probably 75% of the time. So it's a very important position. It's a very difficult position to play. It's almost a specialized position to play, Bruce. People are drafting slot corners, and that's all they do. And because of I think the escalation over the past maybe 8, 9, 10 years of people throwing the football and playing 3 wideouts and spreading everybody out and trying to get the matchups. So Mackenzie's a smaller guy, and usually like those long, leaner corners on the outside. Mackenzie's a smaller guy. He's certainly capable, but what I would be concerned with, how much is this going to affect his ability to play slot corner? Because, you run all over the place playing slot corner. And it's a tough position to play because you also have to be pretty stout against the run. So we'll see. I would look for them. I mean, they might start out that way. Hopefully they'll have a player that develops and a guy that they can put in there at the outside corner position so he can move back inside.
Nick sends us a message on Facebook that he does not share your opinion of Java Blues. He says he keeps Java Blues in the house and Hunter's Blend in the car, or he would say I think he's making a recommendation to you.
Oh.
So that way you could keep Hunter's Blend in your car, maybe fill your glove box up with Hunter's Blend.
You know, I love those
Java Blues in the house. Nick's trying to help you win the coffee wars. Thank you very much, Nick. Any attorney fees that result from this will send to you.
That's good.
On the subject of the Bengals, to me, their season will rise or fall. Certainly on Joe Burrow, but I think it's deeper than that. To me, is AJ Green healthy? If AJ Green is healthy and he's AJ Green, I have confidence Joe Burrow will be really good. Because if Tyler Boyd is your 2 at wide receiver, and you have T. Higgins and Auden Tate and John Ross as your 3, 4, and 5, and Joe Mixon's healthy in the backfield, now obviously you got to protect
better offensive line.
Better offensive line. They get Jonah Williams back from a year off because of injury. I just think, man, if AJ Green is healthy, that's a domino. You used to talk about in the Big Ten, they'd play up in bowl games. They'd take 2 to the BCS, and then everybody else would get elevated, and the conference would suffer because, the team playing in the Citrus Bowl against the SEC 3 was really like the Big Ten's 3rd best team as opposed to its 2nd best team. I think that's the kind of domino effect AJ Green can have. If he's healthy and he and Joe Burrow are on the same page, and we already know Burrow and Tyler Boyd have hit it off, man, I think the Bengals could really surprise some people.
I do. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think it would be of great significance and improvement if they get to 8 wins.
Oh, no doubt. From 2? Sure.
I just think with the rookie
quarterback, their over-under's 5.5. 5.5 wins.
Okay.
I bet over on that.
I bet over on that. I think 6 to 7 is realistic. Yeah. I think excellent work would be 8. I think Zach Taylor also is a very good coach. Like a lot of teams, and nobody's using this as an excuse, but it's just a fact. They were decimated by injuries last year.
Right.
The offensive line and the loss of AJ Green. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. I mean, they got it going a little bit later in the year, but early on, it was just. I did a couple Bengal games early, and it was just bad.
They couldn't run it at all.
It was just.
And Andy Dalton's not the kind of quarterback you can put that kind of a burden on.
So, but I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the Ohio Cup or whatever they call it.
The Battle of Ohio.
Battle of Ohio.
Second week of the season on a Thursday night. So let's see. They're opening on the 13th. That's a Sunday. 14, 15. So it'd be September the 17th. The first Baker Mayfield Joe Burrow battle at whatever they're calling the stadium in Cleveland these days.
And the other thing too, when fans do come back, it's going to be exciting. Hopefully Joe and Baker, hopefully Baker gets it going this year, and those two guys can establish something, and we can have really good interest in this young quarterback battle for a very long time. Whether it was, am I right in my errors here? Brian Sipe and Kenny Anderson or Boomer?
Yeah, no, I think it was Boomer
and
Bernie and Boomer.
Yeah, that's great.
That was great.
State of Ohio. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. And the great thing about it too is I think that Joe and Baker both have that edge that I have seen all great quarterbacks have, and they won't be shy about maybe saying a thing or two that'll make a headline or two.
Yeah, I just think it's vital. If I were Kevin Stefanski, the one thing that you're worrying about a lot of things, right? But the one thing that I would have as a secondary worry, but it's a very important concern, is that he has to make sure the best he can to his ability to make sure that Baker Mayfield gets off to a good start.
Yeah.
Because as confident as Baker seems, I'm not sure he's that confident inside, to be honest with you.
Well, he's in a spot in Cleveland where the negativity multiplies quickly. It just is.
Are you sure about that in Cleveland?
Yes, I haven't led that band for a while. The negativity in Cleveland because of the sufferings of the franchise and the inexplicable things that happen, like block field goals, return for touchdowns on final plays, and guys celebrating wins with a thrown helmet and thus incurring a 15-yard penalty, giving the team that just missed a potential game-winning field goal a chance to then make a game-winning field goal. Stuff happens to the Browns that doesn't seem to happen to any other franchise. And so when something happens that would be a 2 or a 3 on the worry scale of another franchise, it's an 8 or a 9 in Cleveland. The fans get it in their teeth like a pit bull with a chew toy, and they won't let go of it. And whether players are in the facility and they should be able to shut all that stuff out. It just doesn't happen for the Browns. There may be franchises that are good at that. I think New England's pretty good at shutting that out, but the Browns have not typically been good at that.
You know who other is awful at that in Chicago?
Yeah.
Marv Levy had a sign. I think I've told you this many times on his door. For those of you that are listening, I thought it was really, really good by Marv. If you start listening to the fans, you'll start sitting with the fans.
Soon be sitting with them. Yeah.
Which I thought that's really good. And it's interesting because Matt Nagy had a little bit of an issue dealing with Chicago because he's always questioning. You talk about negativity, or if you go to the Giants or the Jets or Philly, there's certain cities where it's easier to play and coach. And Cleveland's one of them where, they get something negative in their mind. And I have the perfect example of this coming up in our face segment.
Mm-hmm.
You get something negative into your mind, they don't let it go. And it's almost a little bit like the sports writers that seem to be rooting against college football. They almost want to celebrate everybody's unhappiness.
Mm-hmm.
And they take joy in other people's unhappiness or other people's lack of success.
Or it makes good copy.
I'm sure. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason may be.
Yeah.
So,
this is the time of year where a lot of people are looking at new health insurance because of open enrollment time coming, whether it's for your company or whether it's for you individually. I had an interesting conversation yesterday with Chrissy from AUIinfo.com, and she, no surprise to me, knew something I did not know. Did you know when you go to healthcare.gov and survey all the plans that you can have as an individual, that built into the cost of those plans is conferences you can have online or through chat with a government employee about healthcare plans. So you're paying for a consultant, whether you know it or not. Guess what? Chrissy is a consultant on healthcare insurance that if you're an individual, you will not pay more for your healthcare plan if you use her expertise and all the things that she has done to vet health insurance plans for you as an individual. If you go on healthcare.gov, you might say, well, this plan's the lowest, I'm going to go with this plan. What you may not know is it might not include your doctor. It might not include the hospital around the corner, down the block, or even in your same zip code. Chrissy will know all that stuff and will be able to go through it with you to find the right plan for you. And again, you will not pay more because the health insurance companies compensate AUI Info, not you. Same for business owners. So if you're looking for health insurance for your employees, to attract the best employees and to take care of the employees that make your business run, similarly, AUI Info does not charge you. The health insurance providers compensate them, no additional cost. So when it comes to health insurance, AUIinfo.com, AUIinfo.com, and that goes for any resident of the state of Ohio or any business in the state of Ohio. Bad news for players like Jack Sawyer of Pick North, whose team debuts Sunday against Pick Central. Jack Sawyer, top 5, top 10 high school player nationally, opted out of his senior year to get ready to play at Ohio State because I think he thought they're going to have a season in January, and I want to be fresh to play as a freshman at Ohio State. The Football Oversight Committee of the NCAA, Spiels, is apparently dead set against and about to vote against incoming midterm freshmen like Jack Sawyer and Travion Henderson, the running back from down south who's coming here. They will not be eligible if the Big Ten is playing some sort of a football schedule in January, February, March, April.
They're not playing anything in January.
Okay.
They're
going to be playing in October, November, December.
Or they're not playing. They're going to be playing. They got to be. If you want to be, there's no point. There is absolutely 0 point to play in the winter. There's 0 point to playing starting Thanksgiving. It even makes less sense when it's already been given the go-ahead by the NCAA that basketball is going to start on time.
Well, pretty much on time, yeah. Late November, early December.
Right. And so, I mean, what sense does it make to say, let's start football and basketball at the same time? That makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
College football season has already started, but the teams that you know and care about, whether good or bad, really start heating up next week. Clemson opens against Wake Forest on the 12th of September, and then the SEC gets underway on September the 26th. So maybe 2 weeks later, the Big Ten will be underway on October the 10th. There's been a lot of conversation about, we can't possibly play by October the 10th. That's
true.
Like, I don't get it. Why is a month not enough to get ready for a college football
It's more
season?
than enough, and I hate saying this, but I'm going to. Back when I played.
Yes, there we go.
Thank you. The freshmen came in a week. The varsity team came in the following week. And so 3 weeks from when the varsity team came in, we played the game.
Yeah.
Played Oregon State my freshman year. Never forget it. Now we had 2 days and 3 days, but we were ready to play. And
you didn't have the involved summer thing that these players typically have.
No,
typically
we had nothing. And so to say that they need more than a month is fallacy to me. I think they're more than capable. And you talked about earlier, and I wanted to comment on this, that Jim Harbaugh said that get ready to play in October.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day said the same thing without saying anything by having those guys out there in helmets and shells.
Just early in the week, they all of a sudden started with a different practice different look to practice.
And so he didn't need. So I think those guys knew that the momentum was swinging their way, and who knows what's said behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. But I do think that everybody's anticipating an October season. My suggestion would be play in October. If you're not going to play in October, then shut it down. Shut it down for good, because it's worthless and useless, and there's nothing to gain. Again, it's risk evaluation. What am I risking, and what's the gain? If I play in November and January, what's the gain? There's nothing. Nobody's going to be interested. Nobody cares. You're going to lose all your good players. In good conscience, every coach would tell an NFL draftable player, hey, you're not playing in January. I can't do that to your future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have a tweet from Brad, or a Facebook message from Brad. He says, I wrote you a while back about how God worked in my relationship with my dad. He's getting baptized. Fantastic. Good for you, Brad. That's awesome. We're very happy about that. Yeah, good for God, absolutely, and good for the Holy Spirit working in his heart. So why don't we use that as a transition into the faith portion of the podcast?
Can we do with our drawing first?
Oh, yeah, sure. I forgot about that. Sorry, my man.
Again, this is not your best day.
No, it's not. It's not my best day. This is our drawing for $1,000 in COVID-19 relief.
Kind of like the state championship in your senior year. Wasn't your best day.
Wasn't my best day.
You are a 2-time state champion, even though it wasn't your best day.
Rumor is, yes. You can email your nominations to spielmanhooleypodcast@gmail.com. I made it so easy for you yesterday. I put on the We Tackle Twitter account a fill in the blank. I nominate blank because of blank. All you have to do is cut and paste that, stick it in an email, and send it to spielmanhooleypodcast@gmail.com. And some people availed themselves of that. So perhaps we'll be drawing your name today, as Mr. Spielman is reaching into the bucket and pulling out 4 cards. Once you're nominated, you don't have to nominate again because we keep you in there until you win. So our winners today are Brittany, Christy, Marcy, and Shannon. Those are our 4 winners today. So we'll be contacting them. Chris's wife, Carrie, will take care of getting you your check, your funds via Venmo, PayPal, whatever it is. So thank you to Chris and to all his various endeavors, including selling his Big Ten championship rings, Volunteer Energy, Spielman CBD products, and others who've contributed to the $40,000 that we're giving away. We're well past the halfway point of that. So don't miss out on your chance to help someone with a $250 check. Imagine making that phone call. I nominated you, you won.
Yeah, that's great.
We get a lot of congratulatory, thankful emails for it, and
One guy was so grateful to receive from a 2-time state champion. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
That's what he.
That's what he said?
Yes.
Probably so touched he framed the check, didn't cash it. All right. Let's do the faith portion of the podcast. Okay. You had something you just referenced that you were going to raise.
Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if you're aware.
I am aware
of the heat. That Kirk Cousins took.
Well, I know he's taken a lot of heat in his career, but I also know he's a strong man of faith.
Right. And so Kirk Cousins, when he was asked about coronavirus, came out and said, "Look, I'm not worried. I'm not afraid. If I die, I die. That doesn't bother me. I will and do wear a mask out of responsibility to others." And for him saying that, he was just raked. And I'm trying to think of what is wrong with what he said. What have you and I been saying from day one?
That we don't white knuckle our mortality.
And so people get so offended by what he said, because Kirk is a strong man of faith, understands that he's not afraid to die, understands that, if God will tell you, Jesus talks about I'm going to prepare a place for you. Or we talk about the old things have passed and everything is new, and you get a new body, new everything. And so Kirk has great faith and trust in that belief, as do Bruce, as do I. And people seem to hate him for saying that. He didn't say anything irresponsible. He didn't say, "I'm not wearing a mask." He said he's wearing a mask. He doesn't like wearing a mask, but he's going to, like most of us, follow the rules out of respect for people. And if it makes somebody comfortable that he has a mask on, then he's going to do it. What does it matter what anybody's motivation is, as long as you follow the rules? And I could not understand, when this all came down, why people were destroying Kirk for just saying the gospel. Well, we are going to be persecuted. And I had this conversation with a young man on Wednesday. I said to him, and he's kind of just, he's like a wave in the ocean, right? Hot 1 second, down the next, like many of us.
Tossed and turned, yeah.
And we were talking about this, and I said, here's my experience. The more closer you draw to God, and the more you worship God, the more you commune with God, whatever the case may be, the more you're going to be attacked. And how true that is. How true that is. And one of the things we talked about, and your concerns for the First Amendment, my concerns for the First Amendment, pretty soon, don't be surprised. And people look, when I say this, people think I'm insane. Don't be surprised if you wear a t-shirt with a Bible verse on it, that would be considered hate speech. I know that sounds extreme. I know what I just said, but if that does come into play, and that does turn out to be true, there's not 1 ounce of surprise that will enter my mindset.
No, and I touched on it a couple podcasts ago, where I said that I often scratch my head when I read in the Gospels how many times Jesus flat out told his disciples, "I'm going to go and I'm going to be crucified." And they just didn't hear it, or didn't process it, or something. Similarly, we are promised suffering for following Christ, and we are promised persecution. And I hope that I'm not blind to the fact that is, if Jesus said it, I'm real sure it's going to happen. Maybe not in my lifetime, maybe in my children's lifetime, whatever. But that he also says it's commendable, and it's a way to prove that your allegiance to him and your faith in his atonement at the cross is complete if you're willing to endure that suffering. It's one of the arguments that people make for the authenticity of Jesus' life, is that his disciples were willing to die to defend it.
Right.
And people say, well, if it was all a ruse, if Jesus didn't really rise from the dead, then the disciples, when persecuted, would have said, okay, yeah, we made that up. If you'll let me go, I'll admit I made that up. But they were willing to die for it. People don't die for something that they believe to be, or they know to be, untrue. They're only willing to die for something that they're, as the saying goes, defend to their death.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know, because I don't want to make anybody nervous or drive anybody out, but that's the truth. But you'll never go through it alone. You'll also receive so many blessings. Your eyes will be open. There's a peace, genuine peace, as Philippians 4 talks about.
4:13.
A genuine peace that surpasses all understanding. You don't know why you have this peace, but you'll receive this genuine peace, and that's not a guess on my part. That's a promise. There's a genuine peace that will come over you no matter what you go through or what trials and tribulations. James chapter 1, starting in about verse 2, talks about the trials and tribulations, and these things have to take place so that you develop strength and perseverance and a reliance and trust on God. My grace is sufficient, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. For when I am weak, I am strong, says Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians.
Yeah. So I wanted to just add on to that. We talk about life being full of choices, and we ask that our children and we make good life choices. In the course of making good life choices, I believe with all my heart, as does Chris, the most important choice you make is your eternal life choice. That is your most important
Pretty
choice.
much a lot at stake there.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to order my life from a vision for my life, a purpose, and a mission for my life. And my vision is that everything that I do conveys to others the gravity of making that correct eternal life choice. I have to live in such a way that I make that life choice attractive to others. I have to stand for truth in what I say and do, to not disgrace the gospel in any way. But and those who do not know Jesus as their Savior, I want to lovingly, calmly, yet boldly stress the gravity,
urgency,
the absolute total importance of getting that decision right.
Well, again, on this podcast, we're going to expose what we believe. We're not going to impose it on you, because Bruce can't make you believe. I can't make you believe. Nobody can make you believe. That's the beauty of Christianity, and I think